It was 2:13 a.m. when I woke up, not from a nightmare, not from a noise, just awake. The kind of awake where your chest feels tight, like your body knows something your mind hasn't caught up to yet. Rain pattered softly against the bedroom window, and the glow of the digital clock illuminated the room just enough for me to see my son, Tyler, sleeping soundly in the bed beside me. He'd come in an hour earlier after another bad dream. I never said no. Not since the accident. Not since he started hearing things at night that no one else seemed to hear. I sat up. Something didn't feel right. And then I heard it. Click. Not a sharp sound, not loud. Just the unmistakable, deliberate click of a door unlocking. My entire body froze. We live in the suburbs. Quiet neighborhood. Gated community. Cameras. Alarm system. One that had been glitching lately but I hadn't gotten around to fixing. Jason, my husband, usually handled things like that. But Jason wasn't home. He was on a work trip, Denver, left 2 days ago. I reached for my phone. Dead. I hadn't charged it before falling asleep. Another sound. The front door opening slowly, not kicked in. Forced opened, with a key. That's when I turned to Tyler. He was stirring. I leaned down, a heart pounding so loud I thought he'd hear it through my chest, and whispered, "Stay calm, son. Don't move." His eyes opened wide, instantly alert. He nodded, silent and still. I tipped through the bedroom door and pressed my ear to it. Silence. Then a floorboard creaked. The third one in the hallway. Right outside Tyler's room. Whoever was in our house knew the layout. I scanned the room for anything I could use as a weapon. A lamp. Too heavy, a trophy from Tyler's baseball shelf. I grabbed it. Metal. Weighted. Not ideal, but better than nothing. My mind raced. Jason had the only spare key. I was sure of it. We changed the locks just last year, and yet someone had come in. Quietly, with precision, I grabbed Tyler's hand. "Bathroom," I whispered. We crept out of the room, down the hallway, and into the narrow guest bathroom. I locked the door and pulled Tyler into the tub, wrapping a towel over his head to muffle sound. I sat beside him, hand on his back, trying to keep my breathing steady. Outside the door, footsteps. Slow, heavy, deliberate. They stopped. A knock. On the bathroom door. 3 slow taps. Then a voice. Calm. Familiar. "Meg, it's me." My blood ran cold. "Jason." "Meg, it's me." Jason's voice. No panic. No urgency. Just calm. As if this was normal. As if showing up unannounced in the middle of the night, with a key he never told me he had, was something husbands did all the time. I didn't answer. My fingers trembled around Tyler's shoulder. His tiny hands gripped my leg under the towel, holding back a whimper. Another knock. "I know you're in there." "The car's outside." I saw the lights. I forced my voice to sound steady. "Why are you home, Jason?" No answer. "You said you were in Denver. Why are you in our house at 2 in the morning?" A long pause. I didn't go to Denver." Silence. I stared at the door like it might explode. My mouth went dry. "What do you mean you didn't go to Denver?" His tone shifted. Still low, but now with a thin edge of something unsteady. "Can we just talk, please? I'll explain everything. Just open the door." I didn't move. I couldn't, because something deep my gut told Meg, "Don't open that door." I pulled out my phone again. Still dead. But Tyler, clever little thing, tugged my arm and pulled something from his pocket. His old iPod Touch. It didn't have a SIM card, but it was connected to Wi-Fi. I texted my sister. "Meg, Cal 911. Someone's in the house. Jason. Not normal. Hiding in bathroom." A reply came almost instantly. "Herg. On it. Stay hidden. Police on the way." Outside the bathroom, silence again. Then the sound of Jason walking away, but not out the front door. I heard the creak of the stairs, the hallway closet, the coat rack falling over. He was looking for something, or someone. Tyler whispered, almost soundless, "Mommy, he doesn't sound right." I didn't answer. I just held him tighter. Minutes felt like hours, and then we heard the sirens. Blue and red lights pulsed across the window. A knock. This time louder, more official, at the front door. "Police, open up." I flung the bathroom door open, grabbing Tyler's hand, and ran toward the stairs. Jason wasn't there. The living room was empty. The door to the basement was open. I screamed, "He's down there." Basement? 3 officers rushed in, guns drawn, shouting commands. Tyler clung to me as we stood in the yard, drenched in rain, neighbors now gathering behind fences and windows. I watched as they pulled Jason up the stairs in handcuffs, soaking wet and eerily calm. "Ma'am," one of the officers said to me later. He had a loaded gun in his backpack, along with wigs, fake IDs, a burner phone, and something else. He hesitated. A lockbox, full of passports, all different names, all with his photo. He sat in the back of the police car like he wasn't even worried. Just stared straight ahead as the officer spoke in hushed voices beside me. Tyler clung to my waist, still shaking, his wet pajamas sticking to my side. "Why did Daddy have fake passports?" he asked softly. I didn't have the answer. Not yet. But inside me, something had already snapped. The man I thought I loved wasn't who I thought he was. And now it wasn't just my heart at stake. It was my child's safety, our lives, our very identities that had been twisted around a lie. The next day felt like a fog. I gave my statement. Over and over. I told them everything: the trip to Denver, the phone calls, the unlocked door, the voice at the bathroom, the basement, the gun, and then the detective. Detective Ramos showed me something that made my knees buckle. An old photograph, grainy, from 10 years ago. A woman, mid-30s, 2 children. A man standing behind them, smiling. Jason. But the name under the photo wasn't Jason Miller. It was Derek Cole, a wanted fugitive. "He's been running for years," Ramos said. "We believe he assumed multiple identities. He'd move into a city, find someone vulnerable, usually a single mother or a woman with a stable job, build a new life, stay a few years, and then disappear." I couldn't breathe. "You're saying he was using me?" Ramos nodded slowly. "He was grooming you, carefully, probably even tracking you online before you ever met." I felt like vomiting. Every memory twisted into something sick. Our first date, his sudden move into my apartment, the time he found a job right after I got promoted, the way he'd taken control of our Wi-Fi accounts, banking logins, my life. I was never his wife. He was never real. But here's what destroyed Meg. He had another child in Texas, a daughter, 9 years old, and another in Arizona. Different name, same MO. Both mothers thought he was on business trips every few weeks. And the worst part, the passports in the lockbox showed future destinations: Canada, Belize, Colombia. He was planning an escape. With Tyler, he hadn't come home that night to kill us. He came to take our son and vanish. I whispered, "Stay calm, son," thinking I was protecting him from a break-in, but the real danger had been living inside our home, sleeping next to me, smiling in our family photos for 5 years. Tyler asked me a few days later, "Will Daddy come back?" I looked him in the eyes and said something that broke both of us. He was never Daddy, baby. He just pretended really well. The house never felt the same after that night. Every hallway whispered things I didn't want to hear. Every shadow looked like him. Every creak made me tense. I sold it within a month, packed what little of our lives still felt real, and moved across the state, closer to my sister. Tyler started at a new school, new room, new routines. I watched him sleep every night for weeks, afraid that somehow, some way, Derek would find a way back in. But he didn't. He was being held without bail, facing charges for identity fraud, kidnapping, conspiracy, illegal firearms possession, and that was before the other women came forward. 7 in total, 7 women, 3 children. Years of lies, each story eerily similar, each woman thinking they were the only one. We cried together on phone calls. We exchanged photos. One woman said something I'll never forget. He never wanted love. He wanted control. About 6 weeks later, a letter came in the mail. No return address. Just my name. My real name. Not the one Jason always called me. Inside was a folded piece of paper. No greeting. Just a line written in blue ink. I was never meant to stay. But I wish I'd met you first. That was it. No apology. No explanation. Just another manipulation dressed up as sentiment. I burned it in the kitchen sink. I don't know how to explain what betrayal like that does to you. You stop trusting your instincts. You second-guess every memory. You feel like a character in someone else's script. And worst of all, you carry a kind of grief that has no name. Because you're mourning a person who never existed. I still wake up at 2:13 some nights. And I still whisper, "Stay calm, son." When the world feels heavy, like I need to remind myself that I made it through the fire. Tyler is older now. Stronger. He remembers that night clearly. But he remembers me holding his hand even more. And if there's one thing I want him to know, it's this: no matter what mask someone wears, no matter how beautiful their lies, truth always finds its way into the light. And when it does, you don't hide. You survive. It's been almost 2 years. Sometimes I still flinch when the doorbell rings unexpectedly. I still check the locks twice before bed. But things are quieter now. Softer. Tyler laughs again. He plays baseball on Saturdays and draws comic books about heroes who wear no capes. Just tired eyes and brave hearts. When I asked him what they're based on, he said, "You, Mom." I cried for an hour that night. I've learned to stop asking why. Why Jason, Derek, chose us. Why he built a life out of lies. Why he wanted to take my son and run. There are some questions that never get answers. But I do know this: he didn't win. We did. He took pieces of me. My trust, my safety, my faith in love. But he didn't take my motherhood. He didn't take my son. He didn't get to rewrite our story. We did that ourselves. A few months ago, Tyler had a school project. Family history. He came to me, hesitant, worried. Do I talk about him? I looked at the blank poster board. Then at my son. You talk about the people who stayed. He smiled, and he wrote my name in the biggest letters. The past still lingers. It always will. But now, it doesn't haunt me. It reminds me that even in the deepest betrayal, even in the moment I whispered, "Stay calm," with my whole world falling apart, I was never powerless. I was a mother, and I chose to protect. And that's the truth behind the night I whispered, "Stay calm, son." But everything inside me was breaking. He wasn't just hiding lies. He was hiding a second life, and we almost became part of his escape plan. But we survived. We found the truth, and we chose to rebuild together. Because no matter how dark the betrayal, the truth always finds its way into the light. This was our story. Thank you for listening to Broken Trust Diaries.